Welcome to the show, Kaspa crew, where we have some new information about a KII project that's about to be released. There's more information coming out about this every day. It's called the WarpCore. And they're filing right now for ISO 222 compliance. Once they have this is XRP's secret sauce. This will allow them to do business with bank-to-bank and cross-border payments. And this, as we've broken down all the technology, and more importantly, one thing that we focus on this channel is how the technology can be applied to the business world. This is allowing WarpCore to be extremely more flexible than XRP. Plus, to top it off, you've got your combination of bank-to-bank transfers with the energy sector. We were just taking a look at a map of Mesopotamia. This is Alexander the Great's domain. When we jump over to this DII document, we can see this is windmill energy. The DII has already encompassed themselves in this entire industry right around the Fertile Crescent of the world, where the heart of energy production is taking place as we speak. And they're making so much money. Forbes magazine doesn't even list these guys. And they're using it to develop green energy solutions. That's right. Everybody who owns these oil refineries, the Shell, things along this lines, they are on the front lines for your solar, your green hydrogen, your windmills. That's their bread and butter. So we're going to do a deep dive into all of this information. Taking a look at the DII team members like Cornelius Mattes, the CEO. This guy's doing public speaking all around Europe and this heart of the energy sector. This map is so important and so crucial because it shows the connection, the flexibility in the use case between not just bank to bank like XRP can already do. And as we dive into more details on WarpCore speed, transaction processing, obviously, Kaspa in its fullest form will be faster, more secure than XRP can ever hope to be. But to top it off, its application in the business world, you're connecting this bank-to-bank transfer with a flexibility into the energy sector as well, which is exactly what the DII specializes in. So this is a completely game-changing plan for Kaspa. Satoshi's original vision was for Bitcoin to be a form of payment. It's now been changed into a store of value. And once again, Kaspa's fulfilling the narrative of finally accomplishing what Satoshi set out to do. And this ISO 222, this is the secret sauce. And we're about to start digging into first XRP. And we'll actually list together everything XRP can do, how big their business model is, to start to size up the shoes that WarpCore has to fill.
My CPU is a neural net.
This is absolutely a game changer for Kaspa. And recently, everybody's been noticing there's been massive downside. Obviously, you can ask artificial intelligence straight up, what caused this downside on Kaspa? Or even better yet, phrase the question like this. During the KRC20 inscription launch on the 18th or the 15th of September, I want you to give me the bullish and bearish scenarios. And what artificial intelligence will do is it will think very clearly and methodically. As human beings, we know that we're vulnerable to a biased stance. And a lot of the Kaspa community just got caught up in bias around meme coins and particularly that combination with Kaspa. Meanwhile, artificial intelligence had told us flat out, they were like, Jesse, these teams are professional coders. The majority of them don't even have a holding in cryptocurrency, and they will instantly run to the exchanges and sell every Kaspa that they get in exchange for their meme coins. So right now, Kaspa is on the discount shelf. People who were biased during KRC20 or perhaps misinterpreted that information might think that something's going wrong with the project. We knew about this the entire time inside of our VIP, as you can see in our Kaspa leverage trading plan section. And these predictions went way back to like September 10th when everybody was saying, oh, now's your last chance. You got to buy Kaspa right here. We were like, pump the brakes on that one. And I must have gotten 100 emails having to re-explain that because the internet had so much conviction. So there's a lot of people that have been running about saying, well, we could have played hot potatoes with the market recently, and we could have found some other bags that went to the moon. I can guarantee you this. You did not find a bag that went to the moon higher than our side bags inside our VIP. Here's what we've got right here. This is the last 30 days. So we're 6 days away from that FOMC meeting. For those of you guys who have been living on Mars or not watching the television, every time the FOMC meeting comes on television, it's extremely dynamic for the market. This is when the institutional levers are trading. For Kaspa, it's been extremely insightful. Look at all these FOMC meetings. They're all leading to upside. This is a search for the highest yielding projects out of 10,000. And we'll see right on the top, there's some no-name meme coin project called Nero. And the majority of the top 10 are all billion-dollar cap. We actually chatted about this inside our Discord lately, as well as Michi, which was another one in the top. And we can see 01 Labs. It's the 18th strongest performing project over the last 30 days. In 6 days, when that measurement correlates directly with the FOMC, this will be in the top 10. And this is a real world use project with these meme coins, as meme coin traders will say. Look, there's Hoppy. Super degen, super high risk, massive upside, but not as much as this artificial intelligent pick. In order to have successfully hit Hoppy, you've probably got a bag of a half a dozen meme coins. Vetting these cryptos out and finding the gems, in my opinion, while it takes another level of expertise, is the #1 go-to. That's what we focus on in VIP. We've got a full, this is like an 8 or 9 page report all about DAI within itself, plus links. And we've got these for artificial intelligent projects. Our picks are all in the top 100 swing trades post FOMC. So we're always crushing it inside of our group. This is the DEI chart. It's just absolute fire. The FOMC meeting was here. The last time we mentioned it was there was a new exchange listing around here. No, the exchange listing was right here. So it rallied to like 17 on a wick and then just rips from 15 to 60, and it's still going. This could go nonstop to $1. The other one was Spectral that we were loading up on from the Bank of Japan carry trade. This was one of the top 10 trades in the entire market. How do we keep hitting the best trade in the entire market? It's because we have what's known as a managed learning system and a standard operating procedure. There's millionaires that live in this tower who are crypto and finance OGs who know that the whole systems around trading stocks have been fully developed. You can get an earnings report 100 ways from Sunday, right? You look at the book value, you look at the company's competitors. They know how to dissect a stock. Nobody's built a system for digesting a cryptocurrency. So we've already started one here, and we invite everybody from advanced traders to beginning to join in to help build on this system and augmentate it. As Cody, who is the moderator of the Discord, mentioned, we're going to be opening up soon a VIP trading post area so people can show their skills using the repeating trendline system, which we'll get into in a moment as we zoom in on the Bitcoin chart and the total 3 to get a live action read. The repeating trendline system is mind-blowing, mind-blowingly accurate. So this is Spectral. We are scooping up on the BOJ carry trade, massive upside. This is a polychain capital pick. This was the absolute #1 best swing trade you could have possibly taken coming out of the Bank of Japan carry trade. And this is fire, a game 5 pick inside of Japan, just rocketing. Even the add-on tripled up. So we were like, buy it here. And then we were like, this is still good at 67 cents. Buy more. And it just completely rocketed. This is the XRP chart here. For starters, we can take a look at where XRP peaked in comparison with the total 3 market from the last cycle. And we can see that XRP jumped up right around here. That's the XRP date. So we're looking at 60 days after the run-up phase. So Bitcoin hit $60,000 here, and then XRP's peaking 60 days later. Something to keep in mind. And remember this, Warp Speed is only part of Kaspa's onslaught of projects that they're building. We've still got meme coins. We've still got up-and-coming DeFi utility, artificial intelligence. There can be GameFi built on Kaspa. There can be GameFi built on Kaspa through the KII. I remember reading one of the team members built that game Far Cry. He's been removed or shifted around. He's no longer on the website, but I specifically remember that was on the KII initiative. Let's get back on target here. Here's an excellent question, which actually goes directly into this market cap of, for Kaspa to seize the market cap of XRP during the bull run, it will be $5. And what we're going to break down right now is what XRP is all about. Do we have anybody in the crowd who's a major XRP head? An XRP investor? Here's what they do. It's a project that was designed specifically. And this is a new article that was just released weeks ago. For bank-to-bank transactions. Even Bank of America is using XRP right now. And in order to do this, in order to facilitate transactions from bank to bank on this high level in the financial world, this is the key to it all. It's ISO 222. You've got to be compliant to that. And XRP already knew this. So when they built the project, they were compliant with these regulations in 2020, before the bull market even got kicked off. Combining this with the energy world and banking is giving Kaspa, the KII, the WarpCore a massive advantage, in my opinion, over XRP in seizing all of this. So there's some articles up here, and we pulled up a list of how many banks are actually using XRP right now. And they're putting together deals as we speak with 1,700 banks. The majority of them, I just pulled up a list on XRP. I'll explain to you on the map where it is. They have some in Sweden, but they really don't have any around this sector. And as we just highlighted, particularly in the Middle East, this is the energy sector of the world. This is where the big money is. This is how trends get started, starting with Paris Hilton coming up with a catchphrase and it just rolls down the rabbit hole. Same thing in the financial world. Starts at the top of the food chain around where all the real money is, and it just slowly dilutes into the rest of the financial ecosystem. XRP does not have that, not to mention WarpCore, and we're still waiting on the white paper and details on the technicals to be released. This is how cutting edge this information and broadcast is. So make sure that you guys hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up button to help promote this video. Getting deeper into XRP, what it can and can't do. For starters, XRP does not have smart contracts. Can you believe that? Instead, they have an adaptation known as a hook, which works sort of like a ZK roll-up transaction on the surface. So without smart contracts, now you're stepping up and trying to compete with WarpCore. Jonathan Saplinsky, who is the master builder of smart contracts, worked on the Ethereum white paper, is going to have Kaspas with the newest, fastest, best technology in all of crypto, the ZK rollup technology. For any of you guys who have been doing gem hunting specifically in our group, for anybody who hasn't, use this tool right here, Crypto Rank. You can't really gem hunt on Coinbase. You go to Crypto Rank and you go to IDOs and ICOs. This is projects that aren't even on the exchanges yet. And you have this beautiful filtering system where you can weed out the ones that are done by Polychain Capital, let's say. We actually have a list of the top 30 highest earning VCs in the 24-point system. I know a lot of people out there will say, well, if there's VCs involved, I'm out. What you're doing there is you're cutting yourself off to only these garage band type of projects, and you're moving your project even farther away from the bond market, which is where the heart of all the money is. But we're not going to get into that in this video. So you can go ahead and do what kind of category do you want to do? And you can do funds and investors like Polychain Capital. Right? Boom, Polychain Capital. So you run these specialized filters out. And when you're looking at what all the top VC firms are doing, Jane Street, Polychain, they're doing this thing called ZK technology. It's almost like a new Polygon, like a new Matic. It's a new type of layer 2, which isn't for smart contracts, but it's just for the surface data, just for the numbers, just for the money. Jonathan has this new technology to build the smart contract platform on Kaspa with. So what he comes up with, we think Kaspa is epic from a technological standpoint with the block DAG. His smart contracts will be another work of art in the computer world. This guy is such a boss that people cite him in their white paper when they had a coffee with the guy. They're like, yeah, talked with Jonathan Saplinsky once over coffee. That's how good my project is. That's who we're talking about here. This guy's an OG. Jesse, how Kaspa is the only one crypto pump little and dump again compared to other coin manipulation. Only good news for Kaspa, but don't want to pump too hard because you're still loading your bags, I imagine. Zooming out and taking a look at, there's two sides to every chart. There's two sides to every coin. You've got your fundamentals, and then you've got your technical analysis. Now, here's where everybody dropped the ball in cryptocurrency. You've got your TA guys with their great charting readouts, and what they're lacking is they're just doing naked technical analysis. They're not pairing their reads. They're not pairing their falling wedge, their cup and handle to an actual fundamental event. And here's why. The majority of crypto content creators are basing all their fundamentals around team and on-chain type of fundamental data. You following what I'm saying? They're looking for new exchange listings, token unlocks, partnerships, new projects on chain. Here's what they should be looking at: FOMC meetings and monetary policy. In the stock market, everybody knows that there's earnings reports, and you obviously want to pay attention when the earnings reports are coming out. But there's another type of earnings report, if you will, and this is known as an FOMC meeting. You see this all over financial TV. They're always talking about the jobs data, inflation, these macroeconomic factors, and these play a huge part in a lot of factors, including how big the bull run is going to be, what phase in the crypto cycle we're at right now. And this is all digesting into Satoshi's secret, which was at the end of the day when he built Bitcoin, zooming way out here on the 1 day. Do we think it's a coincidence? On this blue arrow right here, this was the last halving event for Bitcoin. The last rate cut cycle was here. So we're getting rate cuts and halving. Fast forward to now, guess what we're seeing? The halving and now rate cuts. And this goes along with the narrative that this bull market will be happening later because Powell and the FOMC is off schedule. When Satoshi built Bitcoin, he built it so the supply would be restricted while the demand is going up, because as the FOMC cut rates, they're pushing money out of their control over inflation, which is the bond bubble, pushing it back onto the street. And we teach this in detail inside of our VIP group in macroeconomics. And this is getting back to the point of answering your question. What a lot of these amazingly talented technical analysis traders are missing is their fundamentals based on FOMC and macroeconomic monetary policies. By incorporating that together with their broader dynamic charting, they'll get a whole new level of insight. And that's something that we do inside VIP on top of gem hunting. A lot of these groups will try to do copy trading, and a lot of it happens rapidly fast. If you're not on your computer within the hour, you can potentially lose the move that they were posting about. We plan everything ahead. Sometimes 48 hours ahead, sometimes weeks ahead, sometimes months ahead. We're always scaling where everything's going to be. As we can see, this was a projection from the 10th of September. Showing Kaspa was going to bounce directly off of the exact resistance line it did and come right back to here. Almost a picture perfect call out. And this is utilizing that system we were talking about, the repeating trend line system. So to completely digest that question, macroeconomic factors are playing a huge part in it right now on a broad scale. This is the rate cut cycle. This is a big deal. And while initially we think that this is going to be bullish because the Fed is cutting rates, in fact, it's bearish historically. And as we look through the history of every single rate cut cycle in the history of not just crypto, but finance in general, it's always created downward and sideways price action. And at the end of this video, we're going to do a live charting read on both Bitcoin and the total 3 to try to piece together what direction we're going, pairing technical analysis with overall fundamental. Right here, we can see the last rate cuts in 2019, followed by a rally and downside. These were all rate cuts. There was another rate cut here. So there's rallies, but ultimately it's sideways and downwards. What's happening on a bigger scale is the Fed's pushing money out of the bonds, back onto the street to stimulate the economy. That's what's happening right now. This is the bond bubble. As they offer less yields, cash is going in. And you can flip this right around on its head, and it becomes when it's time to buy on the lows, when it's time to short and everything like that. Once the rate cut cycle is done, and there's a potential that this will be completed in Q1 of 2025. The Fed's going to lop a point off over 2025, hopefully to make trading easier, as well as the crypto peak more bullish and sudden. They'll cut a full point in the first quarter. That will make our day and our lives way easier because it will give us an exact date like this, February 20th and June 22nd. These are marking the absolute clear dates that everything's going to kick off. February 20th, Bitcoin reaches its peak 1 year after. Remember, those are the 1 year treasuries. And then that's June 14th. As soon as the Fed starts inviting the investment banking class out of that market, it's going to tank. So while we're holding during the bull run, we don't have to become cautious until we start getting data like, oh, the jobs are off or inflation is starting to become an issue. Then once they start raising rates, it's time to abandon ship, pull the ripcord and sell everything if you hadn't already DCA'd. So we're just waiting until the rate cut cycle is complete, and then the crescendo 10 BPS is scheduled somehow miraculously to happen at the exact same time that the rate cut schedule ends. And this is going to be monstrously bullish. Getting back on track to our discussion about what XRP can do versus Kaspa, they don't even have smart contracts. That means that they don't have any USDT. They don't have any stable coins. Right now, stable coins on major corporations' balance sheets are becoming the up-and-coming trend. They're holding more and more stable coins, and we all know why. Because they want to be able to secure cross-border payments. This is the application of WarpCore into real-world businesses. People are going to use it to be saving money. And Kaspa has this on lock. Nobody can compete with them. Not to mention all of the market makers who are supplying all the liquidity on exchanges, they have to own 50% of their bag is in stablecoins. Obviously, holding those stablecoins, what are their options? Ethereum, Solana? Holding them on Kaspa is the best business model because it's the least expensive, it's fastest, as well as it's the most secure, providing them with more safety. Tether had a crash 2 years ago. It went down to like 80 something cents. They don't like that. And running it on Kaspa is the go-to play. Once these influential figures like Bank of America, Jane Street have made the decision, and they already have, in my opinion, that they want to run their stable coins on Kaspa, you're going to see Kaspa on TV. These are the guys with all the influence in the world. We think it's a big deal when BitBoy makes a Kaspa video. Wait till you see when these guys start pulling the strings. And right now, of course, they're still in a accumulation phase. We're not even in the run-up phase yet. And because the cuts happened so late, as we went over in yesterday's video, the bull run top, instead of being 500 days away from the halving, will be pushed back farther. And this data is coming down the pipeline as we speak. The FOMC meeting is on November 7th, and that's going to be huge. Absolutely. Did you guys hear the word about Grayscale considering adopting Kaspa? It's inside our VIP Discord. Great information. And what that's saying to me is it's just underlining the point that we just went over. They've already made the decision. Jane Street, these market makers who run the exchanges, Coinbase doesn't actually own all that liquidity. They deal the business to market makers, as well as all of the energy sector. Let's keep this on task here. We're talking about, this is the heart of all money. So the US dollar used to be backed in gold. Ronald Reagan, while he was trying to pull a fast one on France, decided that he was going to default on that, and they entered the quantitative easing cycle. Or it was Nixon, actually, excuse me. So the gold standard is gone. And when you really break down the economic factors of what's backing the US dollar, it's oil, it's petro. This is the heart of all finance in the world. And you guys may have seen news covering how the BRICS nations, which are the guys that are right around the Fertile Crescent, right in Mesopotamia, these are the guys that run the show. And they're deciding to step away from the US dollar. And guess what's on the front lines to take over? Blockchain, and specifically Kaspa, actually stepping up in place. Here's another edge that now we're talking about stablecoins, and this is actually going to be the source of tomorrow's video. As they start to move away from money being distributed by the central banks, we're talking about the privatization, privately issued money on the blockchain. These are private companies. Just like Facebook can ban your speech, can tell you, oh, you can't say that. I remember I was doing a poker video and I had the tower behind me, the gold tower, Trump Tower. They said that was political content. I was talking about poker, but because that was in the view, they censored me. They wouldn't allow those videos to go up. I had to put a blurb over it like it was a swear word. To have the privatization of the US dollar being in hands of regular businesses is opening the door for that. But the KII is acknowledging through using Kaspa, it can't be censored. It's permissionless. Therefore, nobody can step in and debank you with your gigawatt dollar. So this is fighting for the forces of good, which is also part of Satoshi's vision. He probably already war gamed this out to the point of the privatization of the US dollar. How would you like it if a company like Google ran all your money and they were starting to tell you where you can spend it? We're talking 1984 here, really rolled out, and it will be rolled out on the blockchain. It's gonna happen. And it can happen in the right way with the right players. And Kaspa and the KII is fighting the good fight. They're getting ready to rock that. Yeah, the optical miners are tying in this environmental narrative. So that's step one. That's actualization of a more environmentally friendly product. Going a step deeper, we go to here with carbon credits, because on paper, they can create a carbon neutral, and then going a step further, a carbon negative dollar. You see where we're going with this? As the whole carbon credit system itself, this is a $400 billion market. That's the size of Ethereum. The issue with carbon credits are it's an illiquid market. So you're a company that follows compliance. You're jumping through all the hoops that BlackRock and all these climate change initiative groups are starting to hit businesses with hard. You're getting your carbon credits, but you're having a hard time selling them because it's an illiquid market. Not only will putting this whole entire system on the blockchain make it easier to regulate businesses, therefore making everybody submit to the carbon credit system and start getting involved with this, which will make it bigger than 400 billion, doubling or tripling in size, even exponentially higher. But it will also allow retail traders to become involved and make the market more liquid. As you can stake your carbon credits for a yield, or even they talk about attaching them to GameFi's, NFTs, things along these lines. It's all being worked out right now. It's all in the blueprint, and it's the DII, thus the KII and Kaspa that are on the front line. This is mega jackpot potentials right now. The 10 BPS upgrade is a complete game changer, and they're releasing it at the perfect time, directly after the rate cut cycle. Looking into the prior market tops, we can see that everything was getting ready to gear up, but then we had lockdowns. So here was the last rate cut cycle on the total 3 chart. So you're getting these rallies after the FOMC meetings and then more downside. Rally and then more downside. And then boom, we're getting ready to start rock and rolling. But then lockdowns ended up happening. 10 BPS is getting released basically right here. Are you starting to follow how ingenious this is once you link everything up to an understanding of macroeconomics? This is why the fair weather friends can't give the level of content that we give inside our VIP group, because we're making sure with every trading plan, we're combining technical analysis with these macroeconomic factors. So you're reading a trading plan and then you can go watch TV and start listening to the jobs report, the CPI data, and you'll start to put it together with your portfolio in the near future and for how the bull market's going to shape up, helping everybody grow as a trader. This VIP group, it's growing super fast too. Probably helped that we were the only channel in all of YouTube that called the KRC20 would go to the downside. And that's another thing that we do inside this group, is we make sure that everybody builds a relationship with AI. Because artificial intelligence is the smartest guy in the room. You're never going to get better information from anyone or anything than artificial intelligence. And from working with AI for over 500 plus days on video, my expertise has gone through the roof, correlating all of this together. And we can see that in the trading plans and the trade call outs and the gem hunts that we've done. Remember when we were going over this list of the top performing coins over the past 30 days? We were just pointing out the ones that we have 24-point reports on. So we've got like a direct hit on both of them. This one we chatted about in Discord. There's like the whole top 100 is littered with ones we have watch list. So this 01, this will eventually be in the top 10 for the best swing trades post FOMC. Why is that so important? Because it's correlating this giant bubble of cash to the project. Once this starts to get popped by the FOMC, it goes directly into our bag. That's what we're looking for. This is what's been happening on Kaspa. This is why we purchased Kaspa originally down here. The rest of the altcoin market was in a total bloodbath, and we knew it was going to happen because they were actually raising rates. Meanwhile, the rest of YouTube thought, right here, May 3rd, the FOMC guy goes up there and he goes, rates are going up 25 points. And you know what they said all over YouTube? And I'm talking big channels here. They said, I just want to get wrecked so bad. Let's start going long on altcoins while the Fed is raising rates. The Fed and investment bankers, we start off each video with a poker clip from ESPN. This is something that an everyday person has a lot more experiences with probably than trading. And we've got to remember, we're sitting at a table with multiple players. We've got to take a look at the teams, and that includes the KRC20 meme coins that just hoodwinked the Kaspa community by dumping all of our Kaspa that we minted. That's a very elusive word, by the way. That just means you bought it. Now they've got Kaspa, a multi-million, billion-dollar company with complex coding, breakthrough technology, and what you got was a JPEG running on blockchain. I'm not trying to discredit meme coin trading. I don't personally do it a lot. I will do 48-hour swing trades on new listings. And they're not investors, they're coders. So you gave them that and they cashed it out. That's what just happened on Kaspa. Anyway, we're sitting at this poker table and we've got to remember, we're playing against the teams, investment banking class, which is Jane and Jump Street, BlackRock, and the central banks. Here's the thing about this poker table. The central banks And the investment bankers, they're cheating us. They're working together. But just like when you're playing poker with two people that you know are cheating, guess what's going to happen? Every time this guy's going to raise, he's going to take his sunglasses and he's going to put them on with his left hand. Or he's going to, he's going to start scratching his nose. He's going to put his chip on top of his cards a certain way. You're going to find their signal, and then you're just going to let them cheat you, because now they're just cheating themselves because they think they're so smart. And that's what was happening on May. They raised the rates. Guess what happened right here? This is a bloodbath. Jane Street sold all of their legacy crypto on either Robinhood or Webull. So it was a total crash, and we were short, doubling our initial 12,500, turning it into like 30. And then we rolled it all into Kaspa. Here's why. Massive downside, but Kaspa. And this let us know immediately. In hindsight, we can see this is Marathon Digital and their friends. They've got detailed reports, probably covering more than our 24-point reports do. They've got detailed reports because they started mining it. But we had known just from the price action, somebody big is buying this. Something's going on here. And so we backed the truck up and went all in on Kaspa. Speaking about diversification, we're huge advocates of using timelines to diversify. This means you find your number one best idea and you pig out on it until your gains and your savings have increased your bag so much that you can't even do 5% a month anymore. And now you roll into your second best pick. And this is often correlated with what sector it's in. GameFi being the last to explode, Layer 1s being the first. Following this plan exactly, my secondary pick is DEAI. So just pigging out on DEAI, and then recently it breaks from 15 up to 60. Spectral, we've been getting in under 5, and I had broken my own rule. Here's why. DEAI had some issues with their validator node unlocks, and they pushed it back. And because of this, instead of looking at this discount as super cheap, I started getting cautionary. And this is all about a lesson in conviction. So my biggest mistake was I could have made even more, because instead of buying a double up in Spectral back here during the BOJ crash at 483, I loaded the bags. And then also we posted for the new exchange listing here. I could have just bought DEAI and I would have had the best trade possible. And now my bags would be full, and now I'd roll over and I'd start buying Spectral. This is the best way to do it, time diversifying. So when people join the VIP group, we start immediately breaking down their portfolio. You're going to usually be keeping everything that you've got, but we'll talk about when you can sell it and consolidate at different time frames. So one guy has an enormous position in Bitcoin. So he's going to ride that out until the run up, which will take place this fall or at the end of the year as this bond money hits in. And then he's going to take profit, wait for the pullback, and then diversify into sectors that will bloom late, like GameFi, AI, maybe even some meme coins. Everybody's bag can be played differently, and we correlate it to the bond market. How to build from here on, being wise to the bond market, and then plans on how to sell. I am too, Trish. I am amazed at how hard it's running here. It does seem like it's getting above this key level right here. It seems to be breaking above this, so it can use this as an up-and-coming support. So, in my opinion, it will probably never go below 40 cents again. But we know the timing inside VIP Trish show. We'll be waiting to get our opportunity to grab this. How are these altcoins doing today? Oh, wow. Nice upside on Turbo. We're getting a W pattern here. There you go. Good gains. Went from 3 to 9. Sweet. Yeah, so almost as good as DEAI. Going from 15 to 61. It's just a beast. Yes. Okay. So we've covered XRP, and definitely WarpCore is going to be able to compete on so many levels, particularly having that flexibility in between the banking world and the energy sector, allowing people that actually have these carbon credits, companies like Tesla, to have it all connected on the same sphere, on this same chain, as well as USDT. So in my opinion, based on no smart contracts, no USDT, and WarpCore's connection to the energy sector, they're going to be putting XRP out of business. That's going to become the future Blockbuster to Netflix. They won't be able to compete anymore. So their lunch money that we're talking about in these articles, as they're picking up new banks, 1,700 bank deals, these are all going to fall over time into the KII. Just like Paris Hilton being the center of slogans and catchphrases, Mesopotamia being the heart of the world, energy is the heart of all money. It's actually what's backing the US dollar. This is giving Kaspa just an immense edge. And it's another reason when you're comparing it to, let's say, Tau, for example, which is something that we charted exponentially, almost unbelievably well inside of VIP, you really can't compare the two, even as bullish as the artificial intelligence sector is. Everybody just saw Elon Musk's new robo-taxi. That's AI 101. These companies are investing in artificial intelligence hand over fist. They're sparing no expense because they know the first company that gets a real sentient artificial intelligence, it's over. They're not only going to take over their sector, they're going to take over the entire world. They have candidates that their entire program, their campaign is being run by artificial intelligence. Like that one guy on the East Coast, he had a stroke in mid-campaign, couldn't even put a sentence together, but they hooked that guy up to AI, and it was so smart, he won his district. It's super overpowering. And he wasn't against some chump. He was against some guy on TV who was a doctor. So it was crazy to see that. Here we have an XRP fam. I'm really thinking that you might want to take a look into the WarpCore white paper when it comes out and start to do a deep dive. Because there's no smart contracts and because Ripple can't do USDT, that alone is putting it at a severe disadvantage, not to mention the fact that WarpCore, according to artificial intelligence, has more computational power, is going to be faster, stronger, able to do better, more transaction throughput. That's an immediate disadvantage. But one of the keys to all crypto is we've got to know enough as laymen, right? We don't know how to write code, but we're not going to be intimidated by it. We have to know enough to apply this into a profitable trading plan. One of the big things that we always search inside our 24-point checklist is step number 13, which is the strategic partners. And Ripple just doesn't have the partners that the KII does. When we're comparing Kasplex to the KII, both of them are businesses that have already existing models, and they're looking to utilize Kaspa, the commodity, to enhance those business models. Kasplex is like a local deputy. The KII, these guys are like J. Edgar Hoover, head of the CIA. They have massive connections. Paul Vincent, he's the founder. He's like a Warren Buffett figure of the energy trading sector. If Wall Street was named after some guy, if Wall Street was like invented by Warren Buffett, this is the guy. He put the whole thing together, and he has been anticipating wargaming, planning out, and looking for an asset exactly like this. This is what he needs to unlock the energy trading sector, also known as the European Federation of Energy Trading, to its fullest power. XRP can't compete with that. Not even hold a candle to it. So once they're up and running with bank transfers, they're going to get put out of business. Honestly, ask artificial intelligence, because you'll be able to get a non-biased opinion on both sides and weigh out the facts. And you're going to see even AI is basically going to tell you you're done for. And to show that hand in hand, you can do Blockbuster, the VHS store, versus Netflix. Building a relationship with AI will enhance your trading monstrously. One of the things we offer inside of this with the 24-point checklist and a trading system, that's a managed learning system. This all comes from franchising. What you want to get is repeatable results. Anybody can pick Kaspa at the low. Congratulations. But are you a one-trick pony, or can you keep rolling out the hits over and over again? And as we've shown, after the Banco J crash, we had the #1 best swing trade possible, as well as a bunch of them in the top 10. Coming out of this FOMC meeting, we've got the heater. It's already in the 15th highest point, and in 6 days, it's going to easily be in the top 10. And the only things that are above it are like weird meme coins that we've never even heard of. It's the #1 actual project. And that's saying something, to hit these multiple times over and over again. Not to mention our technical analysis, the repeating trendline system. This is taking charting to the next level. And we're going to do some reads on it right now. With the stock market, your trend lines are individual. They have no connections. But on crypto, as we know on Bitcoin, every 4 years, the halving and emission cycle creates this repeating wave, restriction in the supply, which pushes price higher. This can actually affect the chart, and it does on briefer time windows, the halving and emission schedules. This is something the stock market does not have. And we can see this as clear as day on the Kaspa chart. You see all of these golden downward trend lines. That's your X-axis resistance. Starting off this peak in April, we can see exactly to the downside, and we can actually put an angled Fibonacci pitch up here, and every one of these dividends will meet exactly, and we'll show you that on Tau in a moment. All of this downside, it's completely mapped out, and then this one threw everybody for a loop because it had such a wide gravitational field. This is an augmentation of the Wyckoff method. We knew when the candle was way down here, as we've shown, there's going to be downside. It's going to actually bounce off of the top. It's going to bounce off the top of the gravitational field and pull back down to the x-axis. Look at what it did. Exactly what we predicted. Came right down to here, and it's actually at the exact date and levels that we thought that it was going to be. We actually had plucked out of a hat this. On October 7th, the price was exactly 13.8. This is an apex where two of the repeating trend lines, there's one for support, one for resistance, they both intersected. Because trend lines guide the candles so much, we knew this was a direct target way ahead of time. We're talking back here on like September 9th. We're like, oh yeah, without a doubt, we're going to be at 13.8. Great charting system. On Tau, I'll show you it. Starts back here. This is an angled Fibonacci pitch. Look at the downtrends. X-axis downtrend, X-axis downtrend. When you zoom in, this fits like a glove. Moving this over right here, we're about to jump into Bitcoin and do a real-time read using this. Look at this. Zoom in on it. Fits like an actual glove. So we posted this inside VIP right here on the 19th of September, then breaks out, hugs this line, hugs all across here, and exactly as we projected, broke into the blue zone. Called it all out from back here and using other charting augmentations, knew the exact path of Tau. This stuff enhances the bottom line, and it's cool to learn. For 47 bucks, you will grow as a trader and get your money's worth in here. For these 24-point reports, we got so many advanced traders in our group. That's why Cody, the Discord moderator, he's going to open up a new VIP section, the VIP challenge. People are going to use the repeating trend line system with their favorite other indicators. Maybe you use the SMA line, the SMA 50. Maybe you use a Mochi's Cloud. Maybe you're just an RSI guy. You do your own call outs and everybody can watch. And when you make good ones, you'll get props. And we're going to have that up and going right before the FOMC because we plan our trades ahead. And we know the FOMC is the biggest catalyst, running parallel with the election. So you can get in and do some studying, make some call outs, make some friends. Plus, you're hiring someone to read the white papers for you because 2 of these projects aren't even on the exchanges yet. And they're going to be rockets just like DEAI and Spectral. As well as you'll become an expert in AI because we've got 4 of them in the AI sector. So you just lay these out side by side. Now you can go on to cryptorank.com and when you're looking in the AI picks, you know a lot more. You'll be able to size these up. And it will help you when it's time to sell as well. One other downside to owning Ripple that I haven't confirmed myself, but I have heard when we have web tools that we could do this with, we might not be able to use bubble maps. We might have to use a unique one to Ripple, but there's a lot of wallets, huge wallets of early investors waiting to dump Ripple. It has a really hard time. Remember, they won this SEC case right here and they lost all of their gains like almost immediately. The gains are very fleeting, and this is something that's a bit concerning with meme coins. For that whole strategy of I'm going to pick out 5 meme coins, knowing one of them is going to be a turbo, knowing one of them is going to be a Hoppy. Just remember, Hoppy didn't even outperform 0.1, and this is the thing. Hoppy's gains are more likely to be fleeting, and we're seeing that with XRP too. You're telling me you only had 48 hours to sell that top? That's no good. That's not going to equate into a lot of cash in the bank. You're opening the door to human error. You want bigger, longer lasting tops like this Bitcoin. That's a top. You're getting your $60,000, $55,000 out of Bitcoin. This isn't something like, oh, the exchange is on the fritz. I can't use it for 48 hours or I'm gone fishing or I messed up and thought it was going to go higher. You'll have enough time to make the right decision. With a handful of meme coins, you're putting yourself up to the challenge. And there are ways to mitigate that. And some people have already made their bed inside VIP. This one guy has an awesome portfolio. He's just got too many picks. He's got like almost 20 picks. They're all good. They're all good. It's like he went into before even joining VIP, it's like he went into our watch list and just started picking a bunch out. And 24-point report picks. So he's got the winners. He's just got too many of them. You know, being humble and self-aware is key. So making sure that you incorporate in, are we going to be able to take the top out is super key. And it's another reason, in my opinion, why over-diversifying is a doomsday. Of course, this is Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban will tell you flat out. You can look up a video on him on YouTube. What do you think about diversification? He'll say, for total idiots, get the best project and load your bag with it. Following our time diversification, that would mean you are loading the bag with Kaspa for the past 300, 400 days. Eventually, that bag of Kaspa you have, like the one I have, it's too big. So this was the first double up. Once it hit 3.8 cents, that was my first double up, changing 25 grand into 50, 1.3 million Kaspa. Now we've been able to add on there through some leverage trading and stuff. We've got right around 1.5 million spread out into multiple Tangem wallets. By the way, guys, if you have all your Kaspa in one Tangem wallet, discount code JesseAI. Just punch that in, you'll get a discount, and you'll automatically, from using an affiliate marketing code, be enrolled to affiliate marketing. You can help out your family and your friends. Tangem, super easy to use, looks like a credit card. You can hook up your friends who aren't computer savvy or family with those. Get them right into crypto now, still a year early from the rate cuts. And you can explain these macroeconomic factors to them. Turn on financial TV, and they'll be like, yeah. So help them out and help yourself out. Yeah, spread it out in multiple bags. So doing the no diversification plot, eventually that bag of Kaspa right around here, it's worth $300,000. I can only save a couple bucks a month. I can't even do 3%, 5%, 1% a month more Kaspa. Now I'm forced to diversify, and this happened a while back. So I'm forced to start buying DEAI. And thus that just rocketed up. So now I've got another huge position from very little money. And Spectral is next up. So yeah, time diversify. In no way is it right to buy 3 or more projects on the same day. They're all on their own path and course in connection to the bond markets. Although with the FOMC where we're at right now, there is going to be market swing lows. And that's one of the advantages to crypto, is everything ultimately moves together, which gives us a lot of insight. Yeah, I know, right? That's pretty wild. They've got a great logo, though, with the mother of pearl. That looks good. So let's get into some charting right now. Let's actually apply this repeating trend line to the Bitcoin chart. So there's something that we want to point out right away, and that's this y-axis. We're about to move over to the current price peak where we are, but I want to show you guys something first. So the bottom of this dip here, and then even the FTX collapse, which was actually caused by the bond market cut, this is what is a huge misconception as crypto, as people go, oh, it was Terra Luna and FTX that caused this downside. For one, the White House helped everything along. They made their new regulation, which is actually just another reason why AI is going to do so well. The White House started regulating crypto right here. We get this massive sell-off on June 17th. Looking at the bond market, June 17th is exactly when the bonds hit a new local swing high. This is that poker game. Batman and Robin, they're playing poker together, and Batman, he's taking his sunglasses off every time he's got pocket aces, and we know it. So as soon as the central banks start raising rates in 2026, we know that's game over. And we get out. And they started way back up here at the tip top. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. So you can see this y-axis right here. And there's reverberations of this. We can put a Fibonacci angled pitch on, just like we did on the Tau chart. There's reiterations of this all over the chart, right? It's pretty catchy. Like from the tip into this trend here. We actually called this exact bounce off of this. And that's really similar to this. Sometimes you only need a peak and a repeating trend line, and you'll know exactly where resistance is coming. It's a super powerful charting system. The rumor around the water cooler is one of the Kaspa team members actually joined our VIP because he wanted to look at the managed learning systems that we have, because nobody has any way like they do in the stock market to process gem hunting. This is a written system. It's franchisable. It's repeatable. It becomes your trading journal, and you trade and add onto it, and then enter that insight, specifically the charting, into the VIP challenge that Cody's going to be opening right before the FOMC meeting starts. So this repeating trend line right here is in green. That's the halving. We don't need the halving. There's this other trend line which isn't of origin strength. It's just a random trend line. And inside of our classical pattern directory, where we have all of these, one of the concepts that we go over is when two trend line meets. Like, did you know Kaspa's most common pattern is the symmetrical triangle? And it's from its two most common and powerful trend lines, the x-axis and the y-axis. They constantly meet. If two trend lines are meeting like right now, and one of them is of origin strength, meaning it repeats all the time, and one of them is not, it's the origin strength trend line that's going to have more emphasis to the upside. So if it's a 50-50 pattern like a symmetrical triangle, go with the origin trend line. And of course, you're going to add fundamentals to it. So this pink trend line, the purple one, that's not origin strength. That's just hanging around there. And we can see how accurate this is. It's like here, here, and then we've got two bounces off the top side. This is all coming to an apex basically on the FOMC meeting. So we know trend lines guide the candle. If they're both guiding the candle from these supports and where the rest of that gold trend line is, they're guiding the channel. They're guiding directly into that apex. This is something we do a lot accurately on Kaspa. That's how we got that October 1st 13.4 call out 30 days ahead of time. We just found the apex, and then we're like, well, we're headed there, and we'll get there more or less. Sometimes directly on, sometimes approximately. The closer you get, the more honed in the read gets, obviously. We're going to add an angled Fibonacci pitch onto it just to add an extra layer to this purple trend line here. And we can see it's got a lot of strength along the golden pocket. Now, we ran up to that y-axis that has been acting as support since March. This has been going on for 6 months. It tried to punch through after the FOMC meeting, and it did not make it. Right now, there are not enough fundamental catalysts. There's not enough information and data, particularly with an election happening in 3.5 weeks and a new FOMC meeting. We're not going to be able to punch through that green dotted line. No. What's actually playing into more part here is this non-origin purple trend line. This was right before the dock worker strike happened. So I popped open a 20x leverage trade short on Bitcoin. And when it's down here bouncing off this line, it's insanely profitable. It's been constantly coming back and wicking up. And we can see right now, it's making contact with this teal zone. In the most bullish scenario, it could run back up, but it's not going to bounce off of this green trend line. It's running out of steam sooner or later. It could come right back up here, making like a larger W. And we're going to look at the total 3 and see an almost identical pattern in a second. So eventually it's heading towards that apex. It's dropping down lower. We're not going to break out now. We need that FOMC. We need that election results because there's so much uncertainty in the market. They don't know what's about to happen. They don't know what the Fed's going to say. And all of these iterations since the bounce happened, these are just to catch people FOMOing in. These are just to trip up retail traders looking to take advantage of their projections. They're just setting all the traps, getting us all faked out. And of course, nothing works better than a supersonic W to throw everybody off. Of course, even with a 20x, I mean, my liquidation, it would be a new all-time high, so I'm set. Looking at the total 3. While we're here, I've got to drop this other nugget of truth from inside of VIP. On August 26th, we started pulling out actual bond auction receipts and paperwork from the federal government, from Batman to Robin to the investment banking class. And we're timing and doing the accounting to figure out when the money is coming out of risk on assets into these high yield bonds. Obviously, they're about to start cutting rates, so it's going to be popular. We knew that the downside would take place here. We had another bond auction, which we had read the paperwork for the downside would be September 28th. Correction, when we look deeper into the bond auction, it actually continued until October 3rd. And that's when we got the downside. Was we had thought originally it would be September 28th, but those bond auctions kept happening. And that's what caused this leg down. So looking at the total 3 right now, we've got this is a head and shoulder pattern, but it's looking like if we can cross this prior head, we'll go all the way back up to a W. And that will be all the way back up to here on this, with ultimately downside until the election and everything starts. Why do we think the downside? For one, historical data. Every single time the rate cuts have happened throughout all of eternity, rate cuts are bearish. Sideways and bearish. It means that the government is trying to stimulate the economy. You get these rallies and a sell-off, rally and a sell-off, rally, sell-off. Same thing with Bitcoin, if we rewind the chart backwards. So right now, this is another key level on Bitcoin. September 18th, 60,000. We bounced off of it twice. This time we wicked down even lower. The next time we can get a full collapse, and this purple trend line can give out as well, because it'll ultimately take 3 to 5 passes, very similar to the slipping my mind, Elliott wave theory. Very similar to the Elliott wave theory, the 3 to 5 waves of that. When you're approaching a trend line, 3 to 5 passes is a rule of thumb. So 1, 2, the next time we can come to the downside and potentially even get lows back to this golden pocket support. Or we just start following this down until we get closer to the election and everything. In the most bullish scenario, we'd be on top of the golden pocket, right? Before elections, because we're not going to have the strength to pound through there. And right now it would be a W. And of course, we're using this projections to start building trading plans inside VIP. We're looking for multiplier trades, similar to why this is the most profitable trader on all of YouTube videotaping their trades, because I hit a multiplier. I shorted AVAX and then I rolled that all into Kaspa. That alone crushes everybody, because the majority of people, unfortunately, were going long here. And so you're immediately done. I already beat you because I shorted here and I use all in positioning. We don't play. We've got multiplier trades in the top 100. So even without leverage, you can just do cold storage into a solid project, get some upside, and then roll that over into something that'll have upside at a later date because of its connection to the bond market, be it meme coin, GameFi, or even more Kaspa. So very exciting stuff happening for Kaspa right now, and knowing what the cause of all this downside was is part of the battle. And of course, it's all because of these teams were selling. We were the only guys on all of YouTube that were able to put this together. And it's a combination of technical analysis and fundamentals. And using this repeating trend line gives you technical proficiency like nobody's ever seen. This is a great system, and we're super excited because we do so much legwork, scouring the charts, looking for classical pattern setups and others. Because we do so much scouring into the 24-point reports, because we have so much experience with reading FOMC data, this is a GameStop trade from way back in the day. And interestingly enough, nobody even realizes this. GameStop peaked at the exact same time that Bitcoin did. Can you even believe that? January 28th, the Bitcoin run up top was 20 days later on February 20th. And that's all because of this bond market. February 20th. It's all coming back to central banks. As you guys know, trading in stock market, that's like fighting in the UFC. Trading in crypto is like being in bare knuckle boxing. The level of talent that you're trading against, the poker table in stocks, is stacked. It's a hard game, man. That's why I'm in crypto now. Crypto is like taking candy. It's easy. Right? It's like they left the whole bowl out on Halloween, just pigging out, taking your bag. So because there's so many experts in VIP, we'll be opening up the VIP Trader Challenge so people can apply the repeating trendline system with their own techniques and methods on top of it, to make it more engaging for the community. And people will showcase their skills. Awesome, guys. So get ready to rock and roll. I know a lot of people have been understanding this with the wrong spin. This is 100% as we predicted, because the KRC20 teams, minting is an elusive term. They are straight up running to the bank with all the Kaspa they got and cashing out. These guys aren't crypto investors. They're coders. There's a dude who works in my building, or lives in my building, excuse me, who got a job operating for Phantom. If he was on one of these teams building the Kaspa meme coins, he would have immediately ran to the bank too. He's not a crypto investor. He's a guy who went to college to learn how to code. That's it. So that's where the big misunderstanding came from. And that's why Kaspa is such a huge value right now. And remember, once the rate cut cycle is done, Q1 of 2025, looking at the Bitcoin chart, this is exactly when the candle's going to start running into this golden repeating trend line, this bullish force to the upside that's been acting as support since we were down here at the lows of 16,000. We've been bouncing off this, and it's one of those repeating trend lines. It happens all over the chart. We bounced off it again. We're getting closer to it. This will start acting as support right around 60,000 in the middle of December. Thus, we're going to start seeing some upside in Q1, market-wide. Looking at the total 3 chart again, it's obviously making a giant falling wedge. This is a super bullish chart. And once again, it's that repeating trend line. The exact same 2 trend lines were just in the prior falling wedge. We just clone them. You press clone to get the angled charts. You go like that. This is where all your tools are for Fibonacci. And just make sure you clone everything. Don't try to draw it twice. When you draw this, you just go right click, clone, and now you've got 2. That took me a while to figure out as well. Exact same 2 trend lines. Falling wedge will break to the upside. First, it needs to move sideways away from the downside. This is exactly when Kaspa launches 10 BPS. It's going to be super bullish in quarter one. So never write off the top performing project for 2 years in a row. The KII, just an aspect of what Kaspa has to offer. It's going to be monumental. And inside the VIP, multiple trading plans, as well as managed learning systems, standard operating procedures. That's the repeating trend line. That's a standard operating procedure. The managed learning system, 24-point reports in the 84 question. Get your hands on them. We're crushing everybody in the market. We're winning this poker game called crypto. So join us and help chip in as well. Thanks for checking out this video, guys. We will catch you on the next one.